Welcome everyone for my webinar today. I will be your host, Ruchi Parikh. I am a life coach, and let me share my screen so we can start today's webinar without further ado. Give me a second to do that, and I will be sharing my screen, and you don't have to worry. Everything that's going to be shared today is going to be recorded and sent to you via email. We have someone else join in. Welcome, Palka. Sunita is asking, you're interested to know my thoughts on negotiations of contracts with boss. Okay, let's get done with the webinar where I'll be teaching you a lot of strategies, Sunita, and maybe you get your answers from what I'm already going to be sharing with you during the webinar. If you have any further queries, I'll be happy to chat with you. I'm going to be sharing my screen now. Okay, lovely. Welcome to my webinar. I hope everybody can see. If you have any questions, put them in the chat box. I will have to shut the video. Okay, lovely. Just give me a second. Okay, welcome to Stand Up For Yourself at Your Workplace. I am Ruchi Parikh. A bit about me, I'm a life and executive coach. I'm an associate certified coach by the International Coach Federation. It's very important for me to say that because these days every second person is calling themselves a coach, whether they're certified or not. Well, I am certified and have got the certification from this global body called the ICF, International Coach Federation. I am also a lawyer. I practiced in Hong Kong and then in India, before Hong Kong, sorry. So I help my clients move forward, find fulfillment and success in their life. I focus on making clients feel empowered, accomplished. My coaching style is result-oriented. And I'm a complete journaling junkie. I run to my journal for everything because I know I can get the answers there. Welcome for whoever has joined. I am just I'm just starting the webinar. A bit about me is done. Now let me share a bit about you. I know the fact that you have come for this webinar is because you want to stand up for yourself at work. You know it's important to stand up, but there are times you don't know how to do it. You want to learn how to be assertive. You want to learn how to deal with that credit-stealing colleague, the bully boss, and the difficult leader. You know you want to make a difference at your workplace and be known for your work you do. You want to climb the corporate ladder at your pace, the pace you plan for yourself and not somebody else's. And you want to create an impact. Let me know if there's something else you want to share about yourself, or we'll carry on. Please feel free. This is a safe space, and this is a safe space to share your stuff so we can help each other. I'll be very happy if you share. Now, the focus for today is going to be learning how to be assertive and standing up for yourself at your workplace, learning how to deal with the difficult colleagues and leaders. So, Sunita, maybe we'll be covering what you're asking for too. Create an impact and make a difference at your workplace. Practical strategies to try out immediately and building your self-confidence. That's what we're going to focus on today. So let's begin without any further ado. So put in the chat box and share with me, what does standing up for yourself at your workplace mean to you? Would anyone like to share? What does standing up for yourself at your workplace mean to you? Anybody? Don't feel shy, don't feel worried. No answers are wrong answers. Nothing is silly. We're all learning. So what do you think standing up for yourself at your workplace means for you? Would anyone like to share? Not letting anyone boss you around, Sunita is saying. Exactly, that's very true. And thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Okay, so I had spoken You also say being true to yourself. Absolutely. Krishna is saying feeling respected and validated. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. I will let Palka says making sure your ideas are shared and heard. Absolutely. That's beautiful, Palka. You need to be heard. That's the key. Why you have a voice that needs to be heard. Well, I'll share with you. So, speaking your mind, being assertive, setting boundaries, having the courage to voice your opinion, prioritizing things that are important to you, taking a stand for what is right, and not being taken advantage of. Have I missed something? Do you resonate with what I'm talking about standing up for yourself at your workplace? Because this basically covers all the aspects of standing up, of speaking up, of having that courage, setting those boundaries and being assertive. We know what standing up means to us. Then why is it so hard for us to stand up? Why is it so hard for you to stand up for yourself at your workplace? What do you think? What comes in your way of standing up, of speaking up, of voicing your opinion? What comes in the way? Would you like to share with me? Anybody? Making sure your ideas are shared and heard. Sometimes you get scared of being wrong. Absolutely. Yes. Palka, you're right. You don't want to be sacked. You fear of being judged. Thank you, girls. This is beautiful. You're so right. These things are so true. They come in the way of us standing up for ourselves. You're not sure how people will take it, the consequences. Exactly. You don't want to be, ostracized. You don't want to be thrown out of the group. You don't want to feel like the outsider. Someone may not take it well. They may cause a conflict. Really, that's true. So now let me share. After speaking, I did a little bit of research and spoke to a few people, and this is what they came up with, why it was hard for them to stand up for themselves. Fear of conflict, confrontation, as you said. Fear of losing job, as you said, Sunita. Fear of being seen as too aggressive. It may cause a hindrance in your promotions. Fear of offending or having a fallout with colleagues, and the consequences. Have I covered everything, or you think there is something else you'd like to add? I'll carry on now. We know, it's hard. But one of the biggest reasons why standing up for ourselves is hard is because we don't understand the true meaning of the word assertive. If I were to ask you, what does assertive mean to you? Would you like to share what assertive means to you? Because this is the one word that is so, misunderstood. It is always confused. So let me explain to you what the meaning of assertive is. Assertive is always misunderstood with aggression, with being aggressive. Well, it's not the same as being aggressive, and it's very different from it. Assertiveness is a way of getting your needs met without offending others. It's so powerful. It doesn't hurt anyone. That doesn't mean that people will not reject your newfound assertiveness, because nobody likes change. When you decide to be assertive, nobody's going to like it because they were used to you being submissive, not speaking up, agreeing with everything. But eventually they will start respecting you, because real assertiveness involves respect for yourself and the other person. Assertiveness is about asking what you want, expressing yourself in a manner that respects everybody. It means standing up for yourself while being respectful. It's a communication skill that actually reduces conflict. It builds your self-confidence and improves relationships. You're at good workplace because we're discussing the workplace, but it improves relationships overall. And that's the beauty of being assertive. And it's so, the fundamental difference between assertive and aggressive is respect. If you show respect, you will be okay being assertive and standing up for yourself, being firm. You don't need to be aggressive and angry and put the other person down to prove your point. So remember, the key of standing up for yourself is being assertive, not aggressive. I'll carry on now. Why is it important to stand up for yourself at your workplace? You shared with me why it was hard. You shared with me you needed what it meant to stand up for yourself. But why is it important to stand up for yourself at your workplace? What do you think? Why is it so important? Would you like to share with me? Anybody? Or should I carry on? Okay, it's important to stand up for yourself at your workplace because it is an important life skill. It applies to standing up for yourself, speaking up, voicing what you feel applies to every area of your life. Being assertive in many instances is actually better for the other person because they have clarity about your thoughts and needs. Let me give you an example. You're in a meeting and your boss or some colleague asks you, they are discussing an event, you're discussing a list or something, and they ask you what you think about that list, about that project. And you just say, you have some thoughts, you want them to make some changes, but you're worried about conflict, you're worried about being judged, you're worried about losing your job, you're worried about being demoted. So you don't open your mouth and you just say, I'm good with everything, we can just carry on with what you think. But the fact that they've put you in that meeting is for you to share your ideas, to speak up. And once they know where you're coming from, what your ideas are, it's easier for people to understand you better. It goes back to the fundamental problem of, you feel you're making people's life easy by saying you're okay with everything. And it goes especially with your friends or even your spouse. Your spouse wants to take you out and he says, where would you like to go? And you say, anywhere. He chooses a place that he likes because you refuse to say anything. And then you feel resentment that why doesn't he know me? But how will he know you? Or how will anybody know you if you don't open your mouth, if you don't speak up? It just makes it easier for the people in your life to be around you and understand you better if you are clear about your thoughts and your needs. Another important reason to stand up is so that you're not taken advantage of. If you don't speak up, it'll be very easy for someone to walk all over you and take advantage of you because in the back of their mind, they believe that this one's not going to say anything. I can say what I want. He or she is going to be quiet. By standing up, you create a sense of self-confidence, which also helps your co-workers and leaders have confidence in you. You have the courage to stand up and say if something is wrong or something should be changed. It shows your confidence and it gives confidence to others in you. If you can't voice your opinion and stand up for your work, how will you make a difference in your workplace? You need to create an impact to make a difference. You can't do that by just being a yes person and agreeing to everything. You will be easily replaced if you're not making a difference, if you're not adding value. You cannot add value if you stay quiet and don't share your value, share what you're in there for, all the gorgeous treasure you have within you. It's so important to share it. These are the list of importance for standing up for yourself at your workplace. As I told you in the beginning, I'm a journaling junkie. Take a snapshot of this for later, but for now, I'll give you 2 minutes. Can you journal this? Get a pen and paper if you don't have one now. If you could stand up for yourself and create an impact or make a difference in your workplace, what would your life look like? Take 2 minutes and share it. Just write something down. Take 2 lines. If you don't want to write 2 lines right now, do it later. But do this journaling exercise because it's going to help you. Journaling helps in every aspect. Take it from me. I'm going to give you 2 minutes now. And feel free to ask me any questions you may have. We will be happy personally. Sorry, can you share your name, please? Your name is only showing as Samsung Galaxy S7. So whoever this is sharing. We will be happy personally and professionally. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Parul, thank you, Parul. Palka, you're sending the message only to me. If you could change it to everyone, then everyone will be able to see it. Palka is saying, oh, sorry. Palka, is this message only for me? Then I will not share it. Okay, then Palka, can you, Palka is saying, she has a quick question. How would your speaking up of being assertive bring in a change in a large organization where there are so many stakeholders? I'll tell you how. If you believe that you and your speaking up cannot make a difference, because most organizations are large, just because you're a one person doesn't mean that your words cannot make a difference, even if there are so many stakeholders. That's what organizations are made of, people. If everyone thought that me speaking is not going to make a difference, nobody would say anything. How would decisions be made? How would companies be made? How would they succeed? It takes one person to bring out a point or make a decision or change the world. So believe in yourself. Have the confidence that you speaking and being assertive can make and bring in a change, however big or large the organization is. Just get that confidence in yourself. Have I answered your question, Palka? Thank you. Are you all done writing? Should I move on? Let's leave. If you've written a line or two for yourself, then carry on this journaling exercise. Please do it at a little later in the day today. It really will help you. I'm going to carry on now. Let's talk about some workplace scenarios that come in the way of, us standing up for ourselves. The workplace scenarios where we want to speak up, we want to stand up, but we find it hard. So let me start. You have the credit stealing colleague. You're in a meeting, your part of the presentation is done, and your colleague takes over doing his or her part of the presentation, and during that decides to make everybody aware that this work or whatever the presentation was all his or hers. You're sitting there in shock. What are you going to do? Are you just going to keep sitting there, or are you going to speak up? How are you going to do it? You have been planning your next move, your next project for a while now, and suddenly your bulldozer boss decides that it's not how it's going to be, and he wants to do something, wants you to do completely something else that will not let you show your skills, grow in the team to take you to that promotion, and you don't know what to do. Will you stay quiet or speak up? You're a team leader, managing your team. Something's going wrong with the project, but you know you have the confidence in yourself that you will make it to the deadline. Your core team leader barges in and fires your team, completely demotivating them. Will you stand up for your team and tell him to back off? Or will you let him just fire your team and scream at them and totally demotivate them? You're in line for being promoted and it doesn't happen. For whatever politics, whatever reason, will you let it pass? Or will you stand up for yourself? You haven't got a raise in your salary for a while now. You're miserable, frustrated, feeling helpless. Are you going to let that continue? Or are you going to stand up? You have a mean co-worker who is making your life miserable. You're pressured to do work for other people because you don't know how to say no. When you're in the middle of something and somebody comes in and says, if you can you please help me? I need this help. And you don't know how to say no. And you take it on thinking that, oh God, there goes my weekend. Only in your mind without saying anything. You're facing gender or racial bias. Are you going to sit quiet? Or are you going to stand up for yourself? I brought about these different scenarios because I want you to get thinking. If you were in any one of these scenarios, what would you do? How would you react? Would anybody like to share? Or any scenario that you want to share with us that you have faced or you're facing and you want to know how to deal with it? Bring it on. Let's tackle this together. That's what we're here for, to help you. Let's speak up. Let's stand up for ourselves. Because if we won't, then why would anybody give us any importance or take us seriously? Would anybody like to share something in these workplace scenarios? You want to add something? Anybody? Should I carry on? Okay, I shall carry on now. It's the fun time now. Time for learning some strategies. But before we go into learning the strategies, I have a little story for you. Let me first tell you that I used to be the most non-assertive person ever. I was always afraid of hurting people, wanting to keep the peace, not wanting to get into any conflict, was worried about consequences, and was basically a people pleaser. Learning to be assertive, when I finally had no option but do it, it gave me so much power and freedom, and it was at the expense of no one. Parul is sharing that a lot of times you get what you don't expect at work. Absolutely, Parul. And that is life. Not only at work, in life, you get things thrown at you that you don't expect. And that's when you need to stand up and remind yourself of your courage, that you need to speak up. Yes, you feel miserable when you're overpromised and under-delivered. What do you do then? Will you just keep quiet? Or will you stand up for your rights? When I decided to be assertive, it gave me self-confidence and belief in myself that I have a right to voice my opinion while respecting myself and others. That's the key to being assertive, and that's the difference between assertive and aggressive. I learned it the hard way. I had some harrowing experiences, Parul, similar to what you feel, I think you are experiencing. But that's why I'm running these webinars. I'm doing these series of standing up for yourself because I want to teach you strategies. I want to teach you things that I learned the hard way. I felt completely lost and low on self-esteem. But now that I believe that it was wrong for keeping quiet, it was absolutely doing me no service by not speaking up, I decided to start standing up for myself. And that is why I want you to learn the same. And that's my biggest intention of running this webinar. So let's get to the strategies. If anyone would like to share something, please put it in the chat box. I'm going to teach you a two-step plan. Parul is sharing The boss comes with what he understands, but he cannot do anything. His organization is small and that he can't do much. What are you asking, Parul? Can you be a little clearer, please? Your boss has come in with what he understands, but he cannot do anything. His organization is small, trying to say that he's telling me his problems, okay? He's having a miserable time, and what is he expecting of you? Now, let me finish the strategies and then I'll get to, I feel you will get some answers from what I'm going to share with you, and then we'll discuss what your situation is and how you can deal with that. Is that okay? Because everyone's waiting to hear the strategies, and I'm sure you'll get some answers. Perfect. Sparrow is sharing that her boss keeps coming in, telling her his problems, but doesn't understand that it's her job for what she's doing, and she has had expectations before she joined him, and those expectations are not being met. How are you dealing with it, Parul? Are you keeping quiet? Are you egging him on? Are you standing up and telling him that you had expectations before you joined him? We'll get to those answers, Parul. Let me continue with the strategies and I will get to you as I'm done. So first, we have a two-step plan on how to stand up for yourself and how to learn to stand up for yourself. First is mindset work, and then second is taking action. Because before you do anything, you need to convince your mind that it is the right thing that you are doing. Because if you don't do that, it's not going to happen. What is mindset? Mindset is learning anything new or different in your life. Learning anything new or different in your life always begins with first convincing your brain that it's okay to make that change and that the change is not wrong. It may feel different at first, but eventually it will become a part of you. Having a growth mindset can really help you in all aspects of your life. I'm going to pause for a second to answer Parul. Yes, Parul, I'm just going to put in my email address here. Because I want to discuss this situation with you and let's get this sorted. Let's carry on now with, we have someone joining in. Welcome, Mr. Atul. We are on the strategies on how to stand up for yourself. So let's start with the mindset work. What is the mindset work? You need to get clear on what you really want. You need to make decisions. You need to make that decision to stand up for yourself, because till you don't decide, how will you? Till you're constantly confused, should I not? When the scenario actually emerges, you don't know how to do. You're lost. It's so important to discuss and write down possible negative consequences, because what happens sometimes is when we have such a jumble of thoughts in our head, we keep feeling that this will go wrong if I say this, if I answer this, if I stand up for myself, someone will get conflicted, consequences, they'll not like it. But when you write it down, or when you actually deal with each consequence that you feel is going to happen, you sometimes realize that it's actually not that bad. It's actually approachable and you can deal with it. It's important to convince yourself that it's not all negative. Seek support to process that and clear your fears and emotions. That's what I'm here for. That's what a coach is here for. Speak to your family, someone you're close to. Speak to a friend who you trust, who you feel may give you some knowledge. And so most importantly, avoid fear. Fear is not going to help you. If you're constantly going to be living in fear of what if, you are never going to be able to stand up. You need to believe and have that growth mindset that you are going to overcome it no matter what. These are the minds. This is the list of mindset work that you need to do before you start taking action. And what I have realized with my journey in this field, in this area, most of the time, people find it hard to stand up for themselves, speak up, voice their opinions because they feel low on confidence. So I'm going to first, when I talk to you, I'm going to first talk to you about confidence. But before that, let's try together right now and visualize you standing up for yourself at your workplace. Can you think of any scenario? Sunita, this one's specially, sorry, not Sunita, Parul, this one's specially for you. In this scenario that you're facing, after what I'm sharing with you, can you visualize yourself standing up for yourself in front of your boss who's making your life miserable? How will you deal with it? Can you visualize it? If you know that you're being assertive, you're showing respect, it's important because it's making you miserable. How do you feel if you have to visualize yourself standing up for yourself? Does it make you feel good? Does it make you feel amazing? Please share with me what you think, what your thoughts are, visualizing yourself standing up for yourself. Any scenario that may have occurred in your life or in your workplace. Anybody? Okay, I'm going to carry on. Let's get to the action part. And as I was sharing with you, very often people find it hard to stand up for themselves because they feel low on confidence. So let's talk about confidence first. It is so important to work on your confidence levels. And I have these tips, these 8 tips, 7 tips that will give you a confidence booster to help you feel more confident. What is practice visualization? To begin the process of gaining self-confidence, you first need to know and understand what confidence means to you. Once you're clear on it, you have to visualize yourself as that confident person. Visualization is the technique of seeing an image of yourself that you're proud of, that you love, and you hold in high regard. When you're struggling with low self-confidence, you have a poor perception of yourself, which is very often inaccurate. You need to change that. You need to start practicing visualizing yourself as this confident, amazing person. Visualize yourself as the best version of yourself, achieving your goals and being able to accomplish anything you set your eyes on. Take it till you make it. This is my favorite. I've been teaching or using this with my clients for so long now. And then I came across this book by Facebook fame Sheryl Sandberg. I think she's the CFO. And she wrote this book called Lean In. And she says the same thing in her book, fake it till you make it. It's the same strategy. Basically, which it implies is that you act confident even if you don't feel it. It's a bit like role play. You think of the most confident person that you know and you imitate their behavior. Especially in a situation when you feel stuck or you're lacking confidence, you think how he or she would, that confident person in your life would behave. And in that particular situation, and you ape it. You keep doing this as often as you can. And as they say, practice makes perfect, but practice also makes progress. Take care of your health and your appearance. Self-confidence is a combination of good physical health, emotional health, and social health. It's hard to feel good about yourself when you hate your appearance or you're constantly on low energy. Make time to cultivate great exercise, eating, and sleeping habits. Dress well. Build your confidence. Take effort to look after your needs. There was a study conducted in 2016 by the Neuropsychiatric Disease and Treatment, where they found that regular physical activity improved a person's body image. It was a win-win situation. Help others. This is my favorite. Whenever, and it really works well, whenever I've helped someone with any aspect of their life, it's given me an instant boost of confidence. Because I feel that if I can make a difference to somebody else's life, I can surely do it for myself too. It made me feel so good about myself, gave me so much confidence. Helping others also makes you forget about your own problems. Not that the problems go away, but it gives you that feeling. It makes you feel so grateful for whatever you have. And having an attitude of gratitude always brings in abundance. Appreciate and value yourself more. People with low self-confidence very often see others as better and more deserving. Instead of carrying this perception, see yourself as different. You are unique, and that is your superpower. There's no one like you, and you need to start appreciating yourself more. When you appreciate and love yourself, you will start noticing all your good qualities, and that will give you a great confidence boost. Stop comparisons. Please, that causes the biggest downfall of your confidence. Comparing yourself with others is a sure shot way of making you feel ill-confident. Pay attention to the times when you compare yourself or your aspects. No worries, Sunita. Thank you for joining us for whatever time you could. Basically, comparing yourself, researchers have found that people who compare themselves to others experienced envy. And the more envy they experienced, the worse they felt about themselves. It's a vicious cycle, so stop doing it. And finally, check in with yourself constantly. It's important to have conversations with yourself and check in how you're feeling. This is something we don't do. Very often, we are our worst critics. We're constantly criticizing ourselves. If you struggle with low confidence, there's a possibility that your inner critic has become overactive and very inaccurate. So you need to start finding opportunities to applaud yourself, to compliment yourself, reward yourself. It will make you feel amazing and great about yourself. I hope these few tips, these simple tips help you feel more confident. Because once you start feeling confident, it's much easier to stand up for yourself and voice your opinion. Would anyone like to share something at this stage before I move on to the other steps on taking action? Anybody? Okay, I'm going to carry on. You need to be respectful. To be able to stand up for yourself, the most important point is being respectful. Because as already stated, respect both yourself and the person or the people involved in that situation. It all starts here. This is the foundation of standing up for yourself. Practice assertiveness. Talk in an assertive manner in front of the mirror or in front of some friend, someone you're close to. Pay attention to your body language as well as to the words you say. Practice makes perfect. It will not be easy in the beginning. It will be hard, but you need to, don't be too hard on yourself. Practice it. Simply resolve to learn from every attempt to do it better. The more you practice it, the better you'll get at it. Focus on using the I statement. That's very important. When you're trying to stand up for yourself and be assertive, stick to I statements. What are I statements? Statements which begin with I, like I think, I feel, I would like. Don't use aggressive language, which is the you statement. You should not do that. You always, you never. Those are you statements. If you use the I statement, you instantly become more assertive rather than aggressive. Simply put, if you start a sentence off with you, it comes off as more of a judgment or an attack, and it puts people on the defensive. However, if you start with the I one, the focus is more on how you are feeling, how you are affected by their behavior. It also shows ownership of your reaction and less blame. So, Parul, you can use these. You can be using the I statement to put your point across. For example, you can, the you statement, which is more aggressive, is you need to stop that, which ruins the whole situation. But if you say things like, I'd like it if you didn't do that, you're taking responsibility, you're taking ownership, you're taking onus of that situation, and you're not playing the blame game. So use the I statements. And so importantly, learn to say no. Learning to say no is another life skill. It's so important to learn to say no. A polite but assertive, firm no to excessive requests from people will help you avoid overloading your schedule and getting balance in your life. Get clear on your boundaries and protect them with confidence. Another one for you, Parul. What are your boundaries? Do you realize your boundaries, if you've set them, are you protecting them? Let me give you an example of a friend of mine. This friend was very clear that she would never eat her lunch on her desk. Lunchtime, and it's not that she would have to eat lunch from out. She would carry her tiffin from home, but she was very clear that she wanted to step out of her cubicle or her desk and eat her lunch outside, whether it's the pantry or the lunchroom or even outdoors, because that was her break. And whenever somebody, her boss or her colleagues or anybody in the office would say, if you could do this work for me, she was very clear about the boundary that I'll finish my lunch outside and come back and do it. She protected that boundary so beautifully that finally, even her boss would come to her and say, can you do this for me after your lunch, after you're done with your lunch, after you come back to your desk? So you need to start being clear on what boundaries you are setting for yourself and protect them with confidence, because you're not doing anything wrong. It is very easy for someone to say, why don't you just eat your lunch on the table and just finish my work? No, it's just going to take 10 minutes. But if you're clear that it doesn't work for you, you need that break in your day to make sure that you're working on full capacity, that your potential is not, you're not feeling tied down and exhausted. You need to stand up for yourself. Another important thing while standing up is not getting angry. When you get angry, your thoughts are not clear. And with unclear thoughts, you don't speak properly. And that causes problems. That makes you aggressive. That ruins the situation. And even if your intention was right, nothing works out. So do not get angry. Trust your instincts. There is a time when you know that something is not right. I feel it in the pit of my stomach. When you know someone's doing something wrong to you, trust your instincts. Stand up for yourself. Don't let it pass. Because if you don't trust your instinct, your gut will stop talking to you. Be prepared. There will be situations that will come unannounced that you're not prepared for. But as I said earlier, practice. Practice whatever scenario you can think of. So at least you'll have a basic understanding and be a little prepared when something, unexpected hits your face. Be prepared for it. So these are my strategies on how to stand up for yourself. Mindset work and taking action. Being confident. I hope everyone's clear on it. If you have any questions, please let me know. And take a snapshot of this image. What is the one boundary that you need to set and protect for yourself at your workplace? Give it some thought and journal about it. It will give you a lot of answers. Would anyone have any questions for me right now, or should I proceed? Please take a snapshot of this. Any last questions? Everyone's clear on what I've been saying. I hope I've been adding value to you and you got good value out of my webinar, because my basic idea is to help you stand up for yourself. Use that beautiful voice you have. It's been given to you for a reason. Please use it. If there are no questions, then I have a special offer for you. If you liked what you saw and heard from me, then I have a special offer for you. Only if you've not worked with me before, two 60-minute coaching sessions for the price of one. I usually charge $200 per session, but if you take 2 sessions, you will only have to pay $100 each. That's $200 for 2 sessions. That's literally 50%. During these sessions, we'll work together to go deeper with the strategies, get clear on your priorities, build awareness of your barriers, learn how to establish and protect your boundaries. Stand up for the areas of your life that want and need your attention in 2019. Imagine ending this year having achieved all your goals that were important to you. So let me know if you would like to work with me. I would be happy to get you to standing up for yourself. Anybody have any questions for me? I'm going to stop sharing now. Anybody have any questions before we end the webinar? It was a pleasure having you here with me today and sharing my knowledge. You all shared so much. Thank you for that. Thank you for making this a safe space and a comfortable space for everyone to share. If you have any questions before I end the webinar, please put it in the chat box, or I will. Thank you, Mr. Atul. I'm glad you enjoyed this session. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat box. Parul, Kush, anyone, any questions before I end? I think nobody has any questions. Thank you. Thank you, Parul. It was a pleasure. And I am so happy to have you here. I'm going to be signing off and ending this webinar. Have a great weekend ahead. Take care. See you all.